You're about to learn exactly what happens when someone tries to read a person who's mastered emotional detachment. No fidgeting, no forced smiles, just steady eye contact and calculated silence. By the end of this, you'll know how to make people second-guess themselves just by standing still. Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is rarely the most respected? Here's why. When someone constantly fills the air with noise, they reveal something about themselves. They need the attention to feel powerful. It's like watching a puppy bark at a bigger dog. All noise, no real threat. But the dangerous ones, they don't make a sound. They don't need to. Silence creates ambiguity, and ambiguity breeds fear. Think about a poker player who never reacts. No tells, no nervous laughter. Just steady eyes and complete calm. Everyone at that table starts questioning themselves. Is he bluffing? Does he have the winning hand? That's the power of silence. It puts the other person's imagination to work against them. Suddenly they're the ones sweating, not you. Studies from Harvard Business School show that leaders who pause before speaking are perceived as 25% more authoritative than those who jump straight into conversation. It's not just about what you say, it's about what you don't say. In negotiations, the first person to break the silence usually loses leverage. They reveal their hand too soon. But if you can hold out, you force them to fill the void, often with concessions or unnecessary explanations. The truth is, words dilute power. The more you talk, the more chances you give someone to find weaknesses in your position. Ever seen a CEO being questioned by reporters? The good ones answer in short, controlled statements. No rambling, no unnecessary details. Just enough to keep everyone guessing. That's how you stay in control. Here's how to practice it. Next time someone asks you a question, pause for 2 full seconds before answering. Count it in your head. 1, 2. Then respond in half the words you normally would. Watch how their body language shifts. They'll lean in. Their eyes might dart around. They'll start wondering if they asked the wrong question. That's the effect of controlled silence. It turns ordinary moments into psychological leverage, but silence alone isn't enough. You also need to master the next layer, being completely unreadable. Because if people can predict you, they'll never fear you. The real power comes when they can't tell what you're thinking, even when they're staring right at you. Predictability makes people comfortable. Here's how to remove that comfort. If someone can read you like an open book, they'll never feel tension around you. They'll know exactly what to expect, when you'll laugh, when you'll get angry, when you'll back down. That's why the most powerful people keep their pages blank. They don't give away the plot. Think about a chess master. They don't reveal their strategy in their face or their movements. They make one move that seems random, until 5 turns later, you realize it was all part of a plan. That's the effect you want. Neuroscience shows that unpredictability triggers heightened alertness in others. When people can't predict your reactions, their brains stay on high alert, scanning for clues. That mental effort alone puts them at a disadvantage. Here's how it works in real life. When someone tells you something personal, don't immediately match their energy. If they're excited, don't automatically get excited with them. If they're angry, don't mirror their anger. Pause. Give a slight nod, maybe a single word. Let them wonder what you're really thinking. The less you reveal, the more they'll fill in the gaps, usually with assumptions that work in your favor. Most people spill their emotions without realizing it. They laugh too quickly at jokes. They rush to share their opinions. They show their cards before the game even starts. But when you're unreadable, you force others to play their hand first. In negotiations, this is gold. Ever noticed how the person who speaks less usually gets the better deal? It's not coincidence. It's strategy. Practice this. Next time someone asks for your opinion, don't give the full answer. Say something like, "I have thoughts," or "That's an interesting point." Then stop. Watch how they react. They'll often start backtracking or explaining themselves further, giving you more information than you asked for. That's the power of holding back. Your face matters too. Most people's expressions change constantly. Tiny smiles, frowns, eyebrow raises. But when your face stays neutral, it throws people off. They can't tell if you agree, disagree, or just don't care. That uncertainty makes them uneasy. They'll start working harder to impress you or win you over. The key is to never reveal full intentions or emotions. If someone asks if you're angry, don't say yes or no. Say, "What makes you ask that?" Put the focus back on them. If they pressure you for an answer, just repeat the question in different words. They'll usually give up first. Let others squirm to fill your silence. The more comfortable you are with pauses, the more uncomfortable they become. Now let's talk about your most visible weapon, the one people judge you by before you even speak. Your face broadcasts more than you think. Here's how to control the message. Most people's faces leak emotions constantly, a twitch of the mouth when nervous, widened eyes when surprised, eyebrows lifting when doubtful. These micro-expressions happen in less than half a second, but they give everything away. The moment someone can read your face, they stop worrying about you. They know what to expect. But calm, detached eye contact unnerves people. Think of a detective watching a suspect squirm during interrogation. The detective isn't laughing or frowning, just watching. That steady gaze makes guilty people confess things they never planned to admit. It works because the human brain hates uncertainty. When we can't interpret someone's expression, we instinctively assume they know something we don't. Research from Princeton University shows neutral faces are perceived as 19% more dominant than expressive ones. In one study, participants viewed photos of people making different facial expressions. The neutral faces were consistently rated as more intimidating, competent, and in control. The reason? Emotional displays make you seem reactive. A blank face makes you seem untouchable. Here's how to practice it. First, stop the automatic smile reflex. Most people smile to be polite, to ease tension, or because they're uncomfortable. That's a mistake. Smiling should be a choice, not a habit. Save it for moments when you want to disarm someone intentionally. Otherwise, keep your mouth relaxed. Not frowning, not smiling, just neutral. Next, control your eye movements. When listening to someone, don't blink rapidly or look away frequently. Hold their gaze just slightly longer than feels comfortable. Not enough to stare, but enough to make them notice. Combine this with slow, deliberate blinks. It makes you look unfazed by whatever they're saying. Your forehead matters too. Most people's eyebrows dance around when they talk. Yours shouldn't. Practice keeping your brow still in conversations. Record yourself if you need to. You'll notice how much expression comes from that area without you realizing it. A neutral face under pressure is power. Imagine someone insults you or tries to provoke a reaction. If your expression doesn't change at all, you win. They'll wonder if you even heard them, or if you're planning something worse. That uncertainty eats at people more than any angry comeback ever could. The key is consistency. Don't alternate between stone-faced and expressive. That just looks unstable. Train your default expression to be neutral so it becomes natural. Start with short interactions, cashiers, baristas, co-workers passing in the hall. Graduate to more challenging situations like disagreements or high-pressure conversations. Your face is the first thing people judge, often before you speak. Make sure it's sending the right message. But your face means nothing without the next piece. How you enforce your boundaries without hesitation. Because all the steely gazes in the world won't help if people know they can walk all over you. Boundaries are meaningless unless enforced. Here's how to do it right. Most people explain and justify their boundaries as if they're asking for permission. I can't work late because my dog needs walking. I'd prefer you didn't say that. It makes me uncomfortable. The moment you explain, you invite debate. Now it's not about your boundary. It's about whether your reason is good enough. Psychology studies from the University of California show that people who set boundaries without justification are respected 37% more than those who explain themselves. When you simply say no and stop talking, something interesting happens. The other person's brain fills with self-doubt rather than arguments. They start wondering if they crossed a line they didn't know about. That hesitation gives you control. Think of a judge delivering a verdict. They don't explain their decision to the defendant. They don't negotiate. They state it clearly and move on. That's the energy you want. When someone asks for something unreasonable, try this. No. Then remain silent. Most people will instinctively start bargaining with themselves before you ever need to. They'll say things like, maybe just this once, or what if we tried it this way? That's when you repeat, no. No variation, no escalation, just the same calm, flat delivery. The real power comes when you walk away. Not dramatically, not angrily, just decisively. If someone disrespects you after you've set a boundary, leave the conversation. Hang up the phone. Walk out of the room. Don't announce you're doing it. Don't explain why. Action without warning is far more effective than any threat. Research from conflict resolution studies shows that immediate consequences change behavior 3 times faster than repeated warnings. Here's why this works. When you justify your boundaries, you imply they're negotiable. When you enforce them silently, you imply they're law. People treat them accordingly. Notice how no one tries to negotiate with a bouncer at a club. The bouncer doesn't say, you can't come in because your shoes violate dress code policy 4B. He says, not tonight. Then looks past you to the next person. That's the energy that commands respect. Practice this with small things first. If someone asks to borrow money, say, I don't lend money. If they ask why, say, I just don't. Then change the subject. If they press, repeat the same words in the same tone. You'll notice how uncomfortable people get when they can't find an opening to argue. The moment people sense you don't need their approval or understanding, they start fearing your disapproval. That's when real respect begins. Now let's talk about the ultimate power balance. How to be valuable but never safe, helpful but always dangerous. Because the people who are truly feared are those who could ruin you, but choose not to. Yet. The truth is, real power doesn't come from what you do. It comes from what you don't do. Every time you choose silence over arguing, stillness over fidgeting, neutrality over emotional reactions, you gain ground. Start with just one of these today, maybe holding eye contact a second longer, or saying no without explaining why. Watch how people respond differently when they can't predict you. Remember what separates the truly dangerous from the loudmouths. It's not about intimidation tactics, it's about psychological control. The most feared people aren't the ones making noise. They're the ones who make others wonder what they're thinking. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Power isn't given. It's earned in the moments you refuse to react like everyone else. When you become unreadable, unbreakable, and unyielding, people don't just respect you, they fear you. So, start practicing today. Because the world doesn't just need more leaders. It needs those who command silence. If you found this useful, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to level up their presence. Until next time, stay unstoppable.